This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
You're listening to the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast. And now, here's your host, Lisa Rangel.
Welcome and hello. Welcome to the 41st episode of the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast. I'm Lisa Rangel, host of the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast and founder of Chameleon Resumes. We're an executive resume writing, LinkedIn profile development, and job search consultancy firm that helps executives and high potential leaders land their next position faster. And on today's podcast, we're going to discuss the idea of curiosity, the trait of curiosity being the next C-suite driver. And how do you market this trait in your day-to-day career to get recognized? If you're aiming for a C-suite position, recognizing and navigating change should be at the top of your skills toolkit. Well, how do you do that? With a healthy sense of curiosity. In their annual global CEO survey, PricewaterhouseCoopers, or PwC as they're commonly known, take a hard look at the challenges facing corporations and the CEO of the future. With rapid technological development, political flux, the global economic instability that exists, traits of future business leadership must adapt to change. That's what needs to be demonstrated. I work with executives and professionals that are looking for and managing job transition. It's a required quality for handling change. And an employment search. It's strategic, curious thinking that's going to matter. That's going to set a candidate apart. And according to PwC, these same characteristics are the kind that will get you ahead in the C-suite of the future. Leadership capabilities for a changing economy. That's what recruiters and executives are looking for in identifying fellow executives. Strong leadership skills are always in demand. By any economic measure, instability is likely to become a constant condition that an executive needs to manage and maneuver each and every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year. According to PwC, creative, informed thinking is the key to demonstrating these leadership and strategic skills. In fact, they say in their study, the crucial thing a CEO has to be capable of is to think strategically, which means to recognize changes in the market early, then formulate the consequences for their business, unquote. Some of the value of the global CEO survey in its cultivation of thought leaders to access trends and provide opinions on successfully guiding organizations through choppy waters. Consider these remarks by Dr. Vishal Sikka, the Chief Executive Officer and Manager of Infosys listed in the survey. He says, quote, "If I was to point out one thing that CEOs need to have to be successful in the future, I think it's a characteristic of being a student and a teacher. CEOs simultaneously, he believes, especially in the world of tomorrow, have to be lifelong teachers and lifelong students in having a curiosity. The day we stop being curious is the day we stop growing. In effect, it's the day we die. Therefore, I think for the future, especially for CEOs, given the rate of technological change and the rate of innovation that is happening all around us, in order to be relevant, we have to have a constant sense of learning, of curiosity, the sense of fostering our imagination," unquote. And in the same report, Michael Dell, Chief Executive Officer of Dell Incorporated, talks about the future of business growth and the capabilities of up-and-coming leadership. And he says, quote, "The one attribute CEOs need in the future to succeed, I would place my bet on curiosity. Because from curiosity comes learning and new ideas. And in businesses that are changing very rapidly, if you're not curious, you're not learning. We don't have new ideas, so you're going to have a real problem," unquote. So when you think of curiosity, what's in it for you? How are you going to benefit from this? In a thoughtful piece in the Harvard Business Review, Warren Berger coins the term, quote, "curious leader," unquote. If Mr. Berger and PricewaterhouseCoopers are to be believed, we are headed into an era that not only belongs just to those who build or who intuit, but to those who retain a characteristic lost to most of the population by the age of 25. And that characteristic is curiosity. The genius of curiosity is not new. Curiosity, along with resilience, gave rise to humanity's greatest achievements. But such lofty qualities are not often found in a skillfully written resume for a professional seeking a top-level position. Curiosity is a ceaseless quest to learn, to understand, to connect the dots. I once had a client call himself the chief dot connector. This is a very desirable, hard-to-find skill. But once connected, this new form gives rise to yet more curious thoughts and goals. I call it the zone. I think it's when you're in the zone. When you exercise this curiosity muscle, it becomes easier to do, to connect things that should be together that maybe are not normally put together. And that's, to me, the zone. Usually the domain of dreamers, this is also the realm of corporate and organizational influencers who are able to grasp perspectives unavailable or unseen by others because of their desire to learn. That's how this is demonstrated. So the resume should be written, the profile should be written demonstrating these achievements that show you were curious to get involved with them in the first place. Dr. Sika believes the day we stop learning is the day we stop growing. That was what was quoted earlier. For Mr. Dell, the urgency of curiosity lies in the ability to deliver new ideas. Growth and new ideas are a product of learning, and learning is driven by an innate energy of curiosity. In another piece by August Turak, and that's Turak, the discussion of curiosity with regards to Steve Jobs and his interest in calligraphy that later gave him the fonts that are famously associated with Apple. Mr. Turak notes, Jobs wasn't curious about those things that would make him successful. He was successful because he was so curious. So it begs the question, how do you get curious? How do you become curious? While inborn, curiosity is also a quality to be cultivated. Almost all people at some point in their lives were curious, I believe. Think of curiosity as the characteristic that is to be recalled. It can be brought back. Some tips for nurturing your own sense of curiosity include: keep an open mind, wander. It doesn't always have to be so structured. Ask yourself, what if, each and every day. Don't just accept what you see in front of you. Another way to do this is to go somewhere new. To use the cliche, take the road less traveled. Do that figuratively and literally. And trust yourself to find one new thing of interest to you. New interest inevitably sparks curiosity. Third way is to meet others. Break out of your normal crowd. Diversity of people, places, industries. These new relationships, these new encounters can offer an opportunity of new perspective, a new opportunity for synthesis of the information around you. And you might digest that in a very different way. And lastly, but by no means exhaustively, remember and spend time recalling the things that interested you once and try to remember why and revisit it. When you find that passion, odds are you're going to be curious to explore it further, and that's where the ideas start to flow. Curiosity, in my opinion, it is not necessarily a soft skill. As Mr. Dell notes, if you don't have new ideas, you're going to have a real problem. So when you're looking for a C-suite role that's right for you, whether you're in one now and are looking for another one, or you're aspiring to get there, the key is to engage your curiosity, to explore all options. This way you can land the job you want. Do you recognize the curiosity trait within you? Are you able to market this trait to your network, both subtly and directly? If you've answered no to this question about being able to market the trait, I'm going to suggest you hire us for personal guidance on how to do this for continued executive job security. Go to executivejobsecurity.com, invest in our executive job security program to work with our team of career performance coaches who can show you how to market curiosity, your curiosity, to your network and stay on the radar for these high-level roles. This way you don't have to do it alone, and you can still maximize your efforts. Our career coaching resource, again, is found at executivejobsecurity.com. In past episodes, we talked about the only way to truly protect yourself from job loss is to pretend you're fired today and make a list of the activities you would do to start to find your next job, but do them now while you're still working. Do them proactively to keep yourself in demand when you don't need the job. This is the key element to the Pretend You're Fired Today action list. Keep your network primed, your documents updated, and stay active in the forefront of your network's mind to create that demand for yourself before you need it. We want you to be in demand when you need it, so therefore you need to create it before you need it. This way, if your job situation changes unexpectedly, you already have pent-up demand for what you do by doing these actions that I'm showing you here today. For the next few episodes of the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast, we're going to continue to go through a list of tactics and activities for you to do now as if you were let go today to ensure you are always employable and you are always ready for whatever the world brings your way. The first item on this list was your resume. We cover this in episodes 1 through 8, so revisit those episodes to get that document updated. And the second item on the list was updating your LinkedIn profile, which we review in episodes 9 through 12. So I know you're going to want to revisit those episodes as well. In the last 24 or so episodes, we've covered a myriad of topics. Some examples of the topics we've covered are how to work with recruiters or how to answer the salary question on interviews and within your performance reviews. So this way you can land a raise. And we've also discussed the ABCs of job security. So I know you're going to want to revisit those episodes. I'm so proud of you for taking these steps to making yourself marketable before you need it. It's very uncommon that people do this, so seriously give yourself a pat on the back. Most people wait for that unexpected job change to happen, then they take the steps to learn this information, but they're scrambling and they're under pressure. It's really unpleasant. So kudos to you for learning this and doing it before you need it. This will help you stay employable. Staying employable nowadays is not all about staying in one job for 25 years. Remaining employable is about being able to land a job fast when you need it. That's the key. My friend saved me with her priceless advice to pretend you're fired today, and I'm paying it forward with you. And I ask you to pay this sentiment forward and share this podcast with as many executives and rising professionals who you know would benefit from this build the demand before you need it advice. Doing the preparation suggested in this episode will help you promote your curiosity trait to position yourself for high-level roles. Again, this is important whether you're in a C-level role and want to remain there or find another, or you're aspiring to getting to the C-suite. In the next episode, we will be discussing the 6 steps to take to move into executive role. So once you've identified your curiosity trait and learned how to market it after today's episode, you're not going to want to miss the next one because we're going to talk about the 6 steps you need to take to move into that role. So in the interim, if you want personalized coaching for your career to get you past this one area or any other area in your career that you might be struggling with, go to executivejobsecurity.com and hire us to help you directly. We will help you create continuous employability throughout your career. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Be well.
This is the podcastfactory.com.